were given a brief by the DCI that they say Wycliffe was shot, correct?
Yes, my lady, the brief is in the form of, they fill the first page of the form.
So confirm that by the time you were examining, obviously, this Wycliffe Vincent was already dead.
That's correct, my lady.
And that you were never present at the time he was dying.
That's correct, my lady.
To the best of your knowledge, when did this deceased person pass away?
My lady, the date indicated was on the 24th of March. The same year.
24th of March, which year?
2020. Yes, my lady.
And the exam was done on the 2nd of April, 2020.
That's correct, my lady.
Was there any reason for the passing of the time or the timeline that was spent between the examination and the time Vincent lost his life?
Not known to me, my lady.
You have indicated to court that both his wrists were bruised, right? You call them concentric bruises.
Contusions or
Sorry?
bruises.
Yes, okay. So to a layman like myself, and maybe the court, I'm not sure, but to a layman, what does that implicate? What is the significance of those bruises, of the bruises on both wrists?
My lady, bruises or contusions are caused by a blunt object, and so I expect something something like handcuffs or even antling would concentric antling would cause such, with force, would cause such bruising.
So it is a force that would probably occasion those concentric bruises.
Blunt object.
But at the time that he came to you, at the time you were examining the body, did you notice any handcuffs on him? Was he still handcuffed?
No, my lady.
So as at this time when you're telling us about the bruises on the wrists, it's merely on an assumption based on your years of experience of doing this work, correct?
Yes, and it's an opinion based on the location.
Yes.
And the appearance.
By an individual falling to the floor. Would I be correct?
My lady, a fall would only cause injuries on one plane, not continuous, one plane.
Thank you. And are you able to assess the age of these bruises? Like, did they probably exist at the time this supposed deceased person was being shot, or was it previous? Are you able to assess the age of these bruises?
My lady, the only assessment is whether they are before death or after death.
Yes. Could you speak on
So
that?
these were before death, but my lady, what the council is asking whether it was at the time of being shot or before, that one I wouldn't. It is difficult. It's difficult to.
Okay, that is sufficient. So according to you, these bruises may have been gotten before the death.
That is not my evidence, my lady.
No, I'm only asking according, I'm only, you know, you're an expert witness, so I'm asking according to your expertise.
My assumption would be these injuries also happened at around the time the deceased was incurring the gunshot wounds.
Very well. You have been asked about the clothing of the deceased, and that it had bands. As you were examining this body, were the bands in the clothing consistent with the entry wounds and the exit wounds?
The band or the holes on the clothing with
Yes.
bands
Yes,
were,
yes.
were in the areas where there were entry wounds.
Thank you. That is sufficient. You have indicated that from your analysis, it is likely that these gunshots were made at a close proximity. Is
Yes,
that
my lady,
true?
the reason is because of the flames burning the clothing.
Because of the flames. And if I may ask, what happened to the clothing after you made your analysis and examination?
My lady, I did not indicate in the report whether I handed over to the investigating officer or what happened. It's not in the report. So
Yes, that is why I'm asking you now that you're in court. So what happened to the clothing?
my lady, I can't remember because I have not written in the report. So
Very well.
yes.
Is there a likelihood that that clothing underwent further examination after you completed your examination?
I would expect that because of the interest, the clothing is secured and examined.
Shed light a bit on the evidence that you submitted to the effect that there was a bit of bleeding in the muscles. What does that have to do with anything?
My lady, that is in respect to bruises that was on both sides of the anterior chest wall, and they were not in areas. They were not in areas where they were not around the gunshot wounds. So that those bruises happen in areas of blunt force or object injury. But it was just a finding that I recorded, but I did not think about the implication at that point.
Okay. Now that you recorded it and it is a subject of these proceedings, perhaps in your capacity as an expert, you can educate us or shed light. When someone is shot by a wound, that is not normally considered as a blunt force, correct?
It's a projectile. We call it a projectile.
You call it a projectile?
It's not sharp or blunt, it's a projectile.
It's a projectile.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the presence of bleeding muscles, that then would indicate ordinarily that there was blunt force trauma. Is that the position?
That might be that can be an implication, my lady.
In what other circumstance would we find someone having bleeding muscles?
My lady, the cancer, is it in isolation or in these circumstances? In isolation?
You could
in a
give
different
either.
circumstance?
You could give either, because I am very green with bleeding of muscles.
Yes. in the absence of, in a scenario where no injuries, bleeding muscles, you can have them in when somebody has a bleeding disorder, for example.
Okay.
Yes. In the absence of injury.
Okay.
Yes.
And now this one where the deceased was injured. Could it explain external blunt force trauma?
A lady, counsel is leading me to a tunnel. Let me.
When you come to court,
yes.
remember, you have placed yourself so that we can ask you any and every question.
Yes.
And it is okay to say no, yes, I don't know, let me think about. There's so many things.
Thank you, my
So
lady.
we are learning.
Thank you, my
Bear
lady.
with us.
Thank you for protection, my lady.
Yes.
Where counsel is leading me is.
Nobody is leading you. You're the expert.
Yes.
You can
Is,
say, I don't know, I need time, let me check. All those are available because we are, me included. I want to learn.
Thank you, my lady.
Yes.
My lady, I proceed to answer counsel. In the scenario of injuries where state agents are involved, we, as pathologists, we would also encounter these blunt injuries from bats of guns, from boots, from other objects like buttons. So that's why I was saying she's trying to lead me somewhere. Yes.
You have gone exactly where I needed you to go. So now, when you talk about state agents, you mean the police, the DCI? Do you mean the investigators as a whole?
My lady, I mean perpetrators.
Perpetrator.
Where with the circumstances that we are in.
Okay. You've also mentioned about a punctured heart. What does this mean? And is this like an effect of death?
That is the path of the projectile, my lady.
Or that is the path of the
Yes.
of the gunshot
It
wound.
crosses across the yes.
So that then punctures the heart.
Yes.
What about the rib fractures that you mentioned? All the 5 ribs? I
Yes,
think.
there was a result of the projectile in those directions.
And they are shot.
From expertise, from study. From study, and part of the study was a visit to the ballistics unit.
So you witnessed that once a gun is shot, flames are emitted, correct?
Yes, that is part of science, my lady.
Therefore, you have stated that the clothes that the deceased wore that day were burnt. And you have also stated that there was no skin burn. There was no burning on the skin of the deceased. Is it correct?
My lady, I stated that the clothing had holes, and the corresponding sites where there were entry wounds, the edges of the holes had burns.
And there was no burn on the skin.
There were no burn on the skin.
And that is what infers for you to say they were shot in a close distance.
Yes, close contact, close range.
What was the, based on the bullet wounds, can you tell this court how Can you tell this court the manner in which a person who is 50 meters away, when he's to shoot a certain body, how that wound will look like, the entry and the exit, and if that person was, let's say, 30 centimeters away? Can you explain to this court what the difference would be?
Okay. My lady, I begin with the 50 meters. 50 meters. So 50 meters is considered distant range, and the entry wound, as I described earlier, is round, regular, small, but the very minimal abrasion ring, and no, because I described the 30 centimeter one, then there will be there will be no soot, and there will be no flame burns, the distant one. The close range or near contact. The wound, the entry wound is the same wound, small, round, regular edges with an abrasion ring. But depending on the clothing, sometimes the clothing, yeah, whether it's heavy, depending whether it's heavy clothing or light clothing, you can see soot deposited on the skin, for example. And my lady, let me qualify this. Sometimes you have shots where there is no clothing. So on that area, you will see soot around the wound, and you might also see burns. Okay, 30 centimeters is quite close. My lady, where there is clothing, the clothing takes these other effects: the soot and the burns, the flame burns. So on the body, you may not see burned skin or soot deposition around the wound.
Is there an entry and an exit wound on the neck?
Yes, my lady, there was one on the right lateral neck, the right side of the neck.
Was there soot or burns on the neck?
My lady, I did not record either soot or burns on that wound.
There are different types of firearms. Correct, Dr. Sylvester?
That's correct, my lady.
And every firearm shall project a bullet with a different force, correct?
That's correct, my lady.
Which firearm or which object could have caused such wounds on the deceased?
My lady, in my opinion, the firearm that caused these injuries was high velocity fire.
Therefore, you have confirmed a wound on a body depends on the type of firearm and the distance.
My lady, the type of firearm, the difference is in the damage. The damage as the projectile passes through the body. So the damage is what we use to give an opinion. The damage. The effect as the projectile passes is what we use to think backwards. For example, my lady, if I assist the counsel, so if this was a low velocity fire, probably all this we would have found some inside the body because it's not powerful. But for this incident, all of them had traveled across the body and exited. So that an opinion is that is a high velocity or high caliber firearm.
Is there differences between the dimensions of the wounds? Did you analyze it?
They were all uniform.
They were all uniform. Did you measure it?
We measured, but I did not record.
You did not record this. Can you confirm if the deceased, based on the projectile, based on the trajectory of the bullet, yeah, of the projectile, could you say the deceased was shot running, seated, kneeling, turning? From your report and your analysis you did, can you tell the court if the deceased, the manner in which he was impaled?
My lady, the deceased was shot from the right side of the body, and in my opinion, the deceased was static.
Can you tell the court the basis of your opinion?
My lady, of course, if the deceased was running away, he would have been shot from the back. 1. 2, it would be possible for somebody wielding the firearm to accurately shoot 8 times on the right side of the body. It's yes.
There were 8 entry wounds. Can you confirm which wound was fatal to the deceased?
My lady, the fastest of these injuries that would kill the deceased is injury to the heart, because that ceases circulation immediately.
That is all, my lady.
Thank you, my lady. I'll take you briefly where my associates have not covered. Kindly be given the photos of the body that you did a post-mortem.